we're pleased to have you join us on the news on NTA International, reaching you live from Abuja. I am Ruth Aguele. Let's begin with the headlines. President Muhammadu Buhari makes strong case for Nigeria, woos prospective Japanese investors. Nigeria is to strengthen livestock policy to ensure properly documentation of animals in accordance with ECOWAS Transhumans Treaty. Nigeria Immigration Service commences implementation of new visa fee changes for American citizens. Let's get the news in detail. Nigeria has made a strong case for prospective Japanese investors to visit, explore and exploit the abundant as well as very attractive investment opportunities in the country, assuring them of highest returns on such investments. President Muhammadu Buhari issued a formal invitation while addressing participants at the ongoing Tokyo International Conference on African Development in Yokohama, Japan.
It was the third plenary session of TCAT 7 on public-private business dialogue attended by heads of state and government, captains of industry, as well as outstanding businessmen and women from Japan and Africa. It is in furtherance of the unwavering commitment of the Japanese government towards enhancing trade and investment between Africa and Japan. President Muhammadu Buhari said the forum is holding at an opportune moment when Nigeria, faced with numerous challenges affecting its economy, is implementing homegrown and private sector-driven economic measures predicated on good governance, infrastructure and human capital development, as well as business climate reform.
Our government has put in place measures seeking to diversify the economy by developing agriculture, emphasizing on manufacturing and addressing the energy and infrastructure deficit. With these, we shall be placing Nigeria on the path of rapid growth and sustainable development.
Nigeria and indeed Africa, he said, expect much from the TCAT Forum, considering the role of foreign direct investment in the economies of both developed and developed countries. President Buhari said his administration has identified important sectors that are considered priority areas that will drive the nation's economic agenda.
Japanese investors are therefore invited to invest in the following priority sectors in Nigeria, namely power and renewable energy, petrochemical and gas, maritime shipping and ports, automobiles, mining, agribusiness, healthcare and pharmaceuticals, ICT, and railway. Nigeria has very attractive investment opportunities with some of the highest returns on investment.
The federal government, the president said, is committed to removing all impediments to private sector participation in those sectors by creating policies that will ensure consistency, predictability, and a level playing field. He said already a presidential committee has been established to promote ease of doing business and make Nigeria more attractive and competitive for investment. Some members of the Nigerian delegation to the conference give their impressions.
Most of the aid from these organizations here from Japan have been going to East Africa, and it's because of the attitude from West Africa. We're not being aggressive. You can't just sit at home and expect people to be throwing money at you. You have to show interest, that you're interested in aid, you want to work with the Japanese company. So for the president to be here is showing seriousness on his part.
When I look at all of the benefits in the last 2-3 days that we started, it speaks to my own economic agenda. We can harness all the contact, all the opportunities that are available, right, and take them back home and be able to say to our people, our thoughts are also part of the global thought.
We're looking for support from the Japanese government in terms of creating jobs, especially in the areas of technical and vocational education, so that the teeming youths roaming around Maiduguri and its environs and other local government areas shall be engaged, thereby reducing the high unemployment rate, which consequently entails reducing the insurgency in general.
In the meantime, in furtherance of the existing bonds of friendship and economic cooperation between Nigeria and Japan, discussions are ongoing on the establishment of a joint business facilitation council soon to be launched in Abuja, aimed at enhancing trade and investment between the two countries. From Yokohama, Japan, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
And still on TCAD 7, Nigeria and Japan have resolved to work more closely together towards enhancing the highly beneficial relations between the two countries in critical economic sectors for the benefit of their peoples. Now, this was the outcome of the high-level talks between President Muhammadu Buhari and the Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe on the margins of the Tokyo International Conference on African Development in Yokohama. State House correspondent again, Adamu Sambo, reports that President Buhari in particular sought the support of Japan in combating piracy and other acts of criminality in the Gulf of Guinea.
During the high-level engagement between President Muhammadu Buhari and the Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, more areas of collaboration and cooperation were discussed as part of efforts towards boosting existing relations, as explained by Foreign Affairs Minister Geoffrey Onyama.
The President, talked about the challenges that Nigeria is facing, the terrorist challenges, the support of Japan through the UN with the humanitarian challenges that we have, and invited Japan to invest more in Nigeria, particularly in the automobile sector, and with the possibility of building assembly plants for some of the Japanese made car products. The Japanese Prime Minister, promised to continue to support Nigeria in the terrorist and security challenges that we're facing in the country, and and would also look into greater investment within Nigeria by Japanese companies.
Prime Minister Abe, who commended the Buhari administration for taking Nigeria to the next level, pledged a $300,000 support for Nigeria's Defense College, as well as 12 million yen for the country's public health sector. The rising tensions on the Korean Peninsula and the reform of the United Nations were also analyzed as Japan solicited Nigeria's support for its candidates to the International Court of Justice and the Universal Postal Union. Meanwhile, a memorandum of understanding has been signed between Nigeria and the European Union Commission. This was when a delegation from the Commission, led by the Commissioner for International Affairs, visited President Muhammadu Buhari in Yokohama. The European Union had a package of 512 million euros to assist Nigeria in various sectors of the economy, including health, education, and power supply, which is now being increased by 50 million euros. Bulk of the money will be devoted towards addressing prevailing security and humanitarian challenges in the Northeast, particularly Borno State.
The President gave an overview of the situation in the Northeast and the challenges being faced in the Northeast, and welcomed very much this support from the European Commission. And he indicated that this would also fit in and complement a lot of work and investment that's going into supporting that part of the country.
I'm so much delighted and overwhelmed. The Northeast Nigeria, and in particular Borno State, has been receiving a tremendous support from the EU. The Borno package is one of the EU grant to Borno State, which was signed last 2 years. It is an ongoing project. I'm happy to note that additional 50 million euro is just added now. It's just being added now to the existing funding, and I think this will go a long way in ensuring that the resilience of the community is being enhanced.
President Muhammadu Buhari's engagements in Yokohama, Japan, continue. From Yokohama, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
And still joining Adamu Sambo in Japan, who reports that President Muhammadu Buhari says the values of the Nigerian nation are not in any way represented by the few citizens of the country indulging in criminal activities abroad. At a meeting with leaders of the Nigerian community in Japan during his official engagements in the Asian country, the president described as unacceptable the negative impact of the actions on the nation's image and pleaded with them to change their ways.
President Muhammadu Buhari told his audience that Nigerians in the diaspora, as the face of Nigeria globally, must remain the nation's ambassadors for good.
We will not condone any crime, whether at home or abroad, and we will also not allow these Nigerians to define us as a people with reputation for criminality.
He described as pleasing that there are millions of Nigerians all over the world who are truly making Nigeria proud, having excelled in various fields of endeavor, both professionally and individually.
I call on you and encourage you to continue to contribute your quota by helping to develop your host country and Nigeria. Japan is at the cutting edge of technology and efficiency. Collectively, your resources, skills, and talents will be a positive force for our country, which can help accelerate our national growth and development.
President Buhari made a case for Nigerians in Japan to encourage legitimate Japanese entrepreneurs to invest in Nigeria, assuring them of the necessary enabling environment for their investments to thrive. He promised to effectively secure Nigeria, diversify the economy, fight corruption, and provide the desired infrastructure as the government shifts the nation's trajectory on the path of sustainable growth and development. Leaders of the Nigerian community in Japan applauded President Buhari's efficient leadership and pledged to key into his vision and mission for a greater Nigeria.
Regardless of whatever problem, so far as science and technology can solve the problem, what I promise the presidency is that we are capable of bringing solutions. We have the confidence that we will be able to help Nigeria in areas of need. All we want from the government is to engage us or provide the enabling environment.
Your statements, your policies, your humility, your spirit of oneness, and your spirit of service is the only glue that can bind us together. Hence, reassurances of a better tomorrow.
The engagement with the Nigerian community in Japan, coordinated by the chairman of the Nigerians in the Diaspora Commission, Abike Dabri Erewa, was the first since President Muhammadu Buhari's inauguration for a second term of office. From Japan, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
And back home, let's get the latest details in the financial sector with Onange Fiveace.
Welcome to business segment of the news. We begin on a cheery note as Nigerian rice millers crash the price of rice. Our 50-kilogram bag of rice will now sell between 13,000 to 14,000 naira. This follows an agreement between the federal government and Rice Processors Association of Nigeria that the price of rice should not exceed 14,000 naira per 50 kilogram.
All the mills now are opened, producing in almost 100% capacity. And you could all know, because of the good rain we have, we are expecting a bumper harvest in terms of paddy production this year by the grace of God. All agreed that we are going to sell our rice from now on 13,300 minimum, but upon that, there is no Nigerian rice that will be sold above 14,000 naira.
The price slash is a result of the efforts of government to curb smuggling of foreign rice into the country. Statistics released by the rice millers and the federal government indicate that Nigeria's rice milling capacity exceeds 5 million tons per annum. Meanwhile, the Nigeria Stock Exchange has revealed plans to attract more investors to the capital market by hosting the 4th edition of its market data workshop to create awareness on various products. The NSE said in a statement that the event had been scheduled to hold in Lagos next month under the theme Partnerships, Products and the Customer. That's it on business. I'm Onengiye Fineface.
Nigeria is to strengthen her livestock policy to ensure that all animals coming in and out and going out of the country are properly documented according to ECOWAS Trans-Humans Treaty. Consequently, the Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Mohamed Sabo Nanono, is advocating a proper documentation and effective monitoring of headers on transit. Musa Baba Aliyu has the details.
Nigeria has been a major transit country for livestock and pastoralists moving from West to East African countries. The country under the ECOWAS Treaty opens her doors for herders on transit across West Africa. The ECOWAS Trans-Humans Treaty provides that movement must be monitored and the number of livestock registered. It is in the light of these that the Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Sabo Nanono, says undocumented migrants are responsible for most of the crisis with farmers.
50, 60 years ago, any cattle coming from Niger, Chad, Cameroon, or any of the neighboring countries, at the border they will be registered and they will be made to pay tax. And they will identify their leaders and they will know from one point to one point where they are going.
He says the ministry will come up with policies and programs that will organize and ensure the livestock subsector contributes largely to the economic growth in the country.
Such as any state that is interested in establishing any livestock-related intervention or investment, it can also be supported under the National Livestock Transformation Plan.
It is estimated that about 20 million cattle crisscross Nigeria annually in search of greener pasture. In Abuja, Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
You're watching the news on NTA International, reaching you live from Abuja. Let's go on a break. We'll be back. Stay tuned.
Hey, you! And are you how they talk to? I sabi you now. It's in your mind, Abi. The person with them go help us. Baba Toros and Shangalo. Oga Legova, Mr. Sabi. And you know if we carry last for this one.
A spear into the top corner.
We sabi say Pikin go crawl before in waka. So don't look, no help anybody. No dolly, no. So go for it. Go for football. Go for all Serie A and La Liga matches live. Go for GoTV Max.
Thank you for staying with us. The federal government has reassured Nigerians that the country will not lose any of its assets with the $9.6 billion judgment against Nigeria. This was part of submission of the Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, on NTA's Good Morning Nigeria. Olusheye Adiagbo has details.
The August 16, 2019 judgment of a London court authorizing a foreign company, Process and Industrial Development Limited, P&ID, to seize $9.6 billion in Nigerian assets over a breached contract by the company and the Ministry of Petroleum Resources, signed in 2010. The development that has dominated major discourse.
Experts all over the world have agreed that this is justifiable.
Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, on Good Morning Nigeria, re-emphasized federal government stand over the matter as it corrects wrong interpretation by a section of the media.
You see, arbitration is supposed to be restitution. It's supposed to restitute. It's not supposed to give you what you would have made over 20 years.
Yes, yeah.
And this is why we are leaving no stone unturned to ensure that this judgment is set aside. And again, I want to take the opportunity to assure Nigerians that there is absolutely no imminent threat to seizure for assets, because even the UK court said that they cannot begin any attachment until the courts are back and there will be further hearing on the matter.
Lai Mohammed, who described the judgment over a botched contract as unfair to Nigeria, also explains strategy the country is applying to seek in for a stay of execution of the decision.
You don't inflict this kind of injury on the country and its people for your own selfish reasons. But like I said, please, the government is doing everything possible, one, to get a safe execution, and also to, set aside this award. But of course, at the end of the day, we'll sit down with P&ID and, arrive at something that we think is reasonable for all the parties.
The Information and Culture Minister adds that President Muhammadu Buhari has ordered the Economic Financial Crimes Commission, the National Intelligence Agency, and the Inspector General Police to conduct a thorough investigation into the matter.
Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed has called on members of the National Union of Road Transport Workers to support the federal government's efforts to rid the nation's highways of violent crimes. The minister made a call at the 9th Quadrennial Conference of the Union in Abuja. Anthony Forson reports.
While calling on members of the union to support government's efforts in putting in place measures to tackle the challenge of insecurity on the nation's highways, the minister said the call has become imperative.
Your most important role of conveying people and goods and services across the country as a no-smell measure fostered national unity, enhanced trade and commercial activity across the country, and ultimately boosted the economy.
Lai Mohammed, however, acknowledged the challenges the union has gone through due to infrastructural decay, especially in the area of roads, and insecurity on the highways, commended their resilience in keeping faith with the present government under President Muhammadu Buhari.
Specifically, support the government in the fight against insecurity by providing timely information to the security agencies, particularly on all the black spots on the nation's highways. Your members cross the length and breadth of the vast nation, and collectively, you have great access to information that can help to make our road and our country safer.
Already, the minister maintained that the $650 million presidential infrastructural fund is aimed at accelerating the ongoing construction work on the Second Niger Bridge, Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, East-West Road, Abuja-Kano Expressway, and the Mambila Hydroelectricity Project. There were goodwill messages to the conference, all targeted at encouraging the union to embrace modern transportation techniques as is obtainable around the world. The outgoing national president of the union spoke on lessons of his 8 years tenure.
Those I'm leaving behind is to learn from the services that I rendered for the organization. If I emulate it and build upon it, the union should grow beyond what I left it.
A new leadership to run the affairs of the union is expected to emerge at the end of the conference. In Abuja, Anthony Forson, NTA News.
Reports just reaching us says voting is about ending at the primaries of the All Progressives Congress holding at the Confluence Stadium, Lokoja, the Kogi state capital. We'll bring you details in our subsequent bulletin. The 12 finalists competing for the top 6 positions to represent Nigeria at the forthcoming 2019 International Junior Science Olympiad have been presented to the Minister of Science and Technology, Dr. Ogbonnaya Onu. The finals comes up in Doha, Qatar in December, and Justin Bem Unyi reports that the finalists will be selected based on merit from a pool of students currently undergoing training.
The International Junior Science Olympiad is an annual team competition in the natural sciences focused on biology, chemistry and physics for students not more than 16 years, drawn from more than 80 participating countries. The Olympiad is in recognition of the significance of natural sciences in an ever-changing world. These 12 students from 12 different states emerged victorious at the zonal level of preliminary examination in Nigeria. They are to undergo further training, after which 6 outstanding participants would be selected to form Team Nigeria at the competition. Now, they have met with the Minister of Science and Technology, who has encouraged them and tasked them to make Nigeria proud as they go to Doha and win the gold medals for the country.
We believe that this year you will do us proud by showing the world that yes, Nigerian students are very good in science subjects. We are doing this because we believe that the future of our great nation is in the hands of young people like you.
The competition has key objectives that includes stimulating the active interest of students in natural sciences and to promote science careers. In Abuja, Justin Bemuni, NTA News.
And on to sports. With 3 days to the end of the 12th African Games in Morocco, athletes have been urged to compete clean as Nigeria currently occupies 3rd position on the medals table. Tamara Ebiwe brings us more on the African Games.